What's up, y'all? Y'all all right? I'm coming before y'all with another transmission dealing with nation building. Look alive, baby. Look around you. May my viewers, listeners, and supporters embrace this uplifting transmission in a perspective to where you can get something out of the words that I'm specifically utilizing to make sense about the, these day-to-day realities that we living through. The reason why I say living through, we constantly surviving the times. Look, Rahubat Hotep to my people. Much love to the family. We dealing with some serious issues when it comes to us nation building as a people. This is not a game, but yet there's multiple games being played dealing with the battle in the sky regarding the mind games that's going on in the society to where people got to do what they got to do to survive. But mind you, in the black community, a lot of our people just not getting it when it comes to the battle cry. This is a blueprint for black power, which is a moral, political, and economic imperative. This is a must for us to do to organize and thrive as a people with governmental resources and finances to help sustain our nation through getting our needs met regarding food, clothing, shelter, water, natural gases, transportation, commodities that meet the needs of a people. Like, for instance, we're a nation within a nation, but yet a lot of our people are suffering from certain mental retardation and self-hatred to the point where they unrecognizable, to the point where they out their mind and they not us. They not me and you. No. They not me and you, they strangers. Compound with being mentally enslaved to the point where they have become so out of tune to where they have been conditioned to be willing vessels of the evil one, to do the evil one's bidding, it appears. But yet there is a divine intervention that has taken place to get into this cesspool of social filth dealing with our people, to appeal to the certain amount of light that's within our people, that's clothed in darkness, so to speak, right? Because the evidence of their darkness is the self-hatred. Now here it is, right? Us as black men who are letting our light shine, or who consider excuse me, who consider ourselves chosen ones, star seeds, and light workers, who knowing better about certain conscious knowledge to where we find ourselves doing better and trying to be the change that we want to see in the world, right? But yet, a lot of people can't be trusted because of so much moral corruptness, so much moral corruption, where people abusing certain power that they have in certain position of power to where they stealing so much money. They not allocating resources to the people or the society. Certain governmental greed is at an all-time high to where it's so much political pageantry going on and psyops going on to the point where people's mind is being carried away in so many directions other than the path that leads them to their higher selves. Now, man, you see this book here? This is called The Insane Nigger. What have made our people insane? The brutalities of slavery and misinformation. Now, how do we change out of the psychological conditioning of mental darkness? Now we know there is an everyday psychological warfare that is going on that's causing a lot of our people to be out of their mind and to be imbalanced and be disconnected to the true light that is going to enable them to wake up and become back in their right minds as conscious cosmic beings who is of celestial origins while we're here on this planet, to the point where by us being on this planet, other beings that's on this planet have certain plans to where a lot of ignorant, stupid people is in a certain food chain to where they being conditioned for a particular harvest to be eaten. It may sound crazy, but you have to have an open mind today regarding the realities of this information age that we are in right now. Now, on the news, there have been so much unthinkable stuff going on. You got people losing control of themselves while they have been put under a hypnosis from their self-induced enslavement of losing their mind and losing control of their sober mind by being under the influence of certain mind-altering chemicals to the point where they done kill innocent people who are just waiting for the bus trying to go home from a productive day, trying to take care of their business, and yet a person ran up on the sidewalk and killed 8 people because of reckless driving, of them being lost at that particular time, to the point where they lost control, to where they was out their mind and ended up killing 8 people who was waiting for the bus. Where they do that at? That, look, then recently, some stupid person randomly at a certain shopping mall just jumped out the car and started indiscriminately just shooting people, killing multiple people and injuring others, to the point where here it is, we out here productive citizens of the society, right? Taking care of our business, doing what we gotta do to take care of our responsibilities through, counting our blessings and being grateful for what we have with our lifestyle, doing what we doing to provide for ourselves, to put food on our table, clothes on our back, make sure, we got resources to take care of our transportation and meet the needs of our household and things of this nature regarding the cost of living. And out of nowhere, randomly, somebody, jump out of nowhere and end up indiscriminately shooting in the area that you are in when you're going on with the forwardness of your day, not engaging in any particular kind of trouble, but yet end up being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's dangerous out here. We really have to be conscious of our surroundings and focus on embracing thoughts that's a product of our higher self, that cause us to be on the path of our higher self. Because there's too much insanity going on around us day after day after day after day after day. And look at the deposition Donald Trump just had on TV. I mean, the questions and the answers of his deposition was interesting, where it shows you how, based on like Donald Trump's answers about certain questions that was asked of him by the particular lawyer who was talking to him, the word games based on what was considered to be the questions that lawyer was asked based on certain supposed evidence that they had with Trump responded, was like, that whole process was a hoax, because a certain political opposition of his, or political opponents of his, tried to create an atmosphere to make him look a certain way, when in all actuality, he was a clean president all along, representing principles, being realistic, and helping to make America great again. But wait a minute. Turtle Island has always been great, but like the master teacher, Dr. Malachi York, our master teacher, partner Bab, y'all know him, right? He made a statement, the people's minds of the planet has been scrambled up like eggs. When he said that, right? When he said that, a light went on in my mind. I was like, you know what? What do you mean by that? I see what he meant by that a lot of people's minds on the planet has been scrambled up like eggs, straight scrambled eggs. And here's the evidence. Much love to the master teacher. Now here it is. I'm doing this transmission, right? Because it's needed for my viewers, listeners, supporters. You know, this transmission is about Ashu, divine love. And for if certain people who listen to this transmission who are conscious, we learn something new all the time, so may our consciousness be enhanced by what I am enunciating right now. Now, for instance, why is it so much trickery going on when it comes to the matters of knowledge? You have forbidden knowledge. You have trick knowledge. You have misinformation. And you have correct information. So when the master teacher brought us the alphamation, and to convert that alphamation into information rooted in actual facts, to manifest true reality for ourselves as master builders. We got a lot of growing to do because we have been mentally stripped of certain knowledge that empower us in our heads. We've been pretty much like that term they was talking about, basically we've been put to sleep for a particular time to where that sleep spell has been lifted. And the formula in which the master teacher brought to break that hypnotic spell off the hard-headed, stiff-necked, and hard-headed head of our people has been cracked to where the knowledge is getting in for a lot of us who have connected with that 9-ether frequency knowledge, right? That is enabling us to do something about changing out of the stupid, ignorant condition that a lot of us still participating in. So is this beautiful sister, Rabel, who to me make a lot of sense when I listen to her about like the point she be making about like a lot of our people that look like us, they not us. And the master teacher wrote the book, Are There Black Devils? For further confirmation of that fact, to where that point has been corroborated by that reading material. And not only that, when it comes to the fallacies of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the three monotheistic religions that a lot of our people is interested in, they know not what they worship. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a higher power, and all praise due to the Most High, right? But what God has you really been given? Do you know? Now, for instance, there's a problem that has to be resolved, dealing with us as a people being indigenous to this land. Now, for instance, we at war. In life in general, you have to fight against ignorance or lack of knowledge anyway. There is a spiritual warfare, right? That is so serious. Like that term when I was a child, I played childish games, but now that I am an adult, I put them childish ways away, right? So, me as an adult, what is considered evidence that I'm carrying myself as an adult? Because it's a lot of adults who look like they're adults, but they are childish in mind, and they are childish in character. It feels good to raise in consciousness into adulthood to where I'm conducting myself as an adult, dealing with real world knowledge that cause me to be able to handle certain truth. Like, for instance, a lot of our people run from the truth. They ain't ready for it. They can't handle it. They rather live in a la-la land and pump themselves up with all kind of false prides, participating in all kind of drug use, drug abuse, and play all kind of immature games that keep them stuck in a certain societal category to where they really is living in a condition where they're a product of certain big ideas by certain mind manipulators who want to create a prison planet where they would prefer for a lot of us to be subjected to. But wait a minute. A lot of us have instincts to where, you know what? We are geared toward utilizing our mind to the point where we think in a perspective to where we have a brain and we use it, right? Now, let's go deeper into certain perspectives dealing with the reality of what it means for us to identify with our true nationality, because certain forces denationalize our people to where we have been disconnected with our indigenous status. Now, the master teacher, right? He came with this book. Let's set the record straight, right? Now, for the sake of intelligent conversation, let's go here. Okay? Let's go here. What black men and black women is sitting down together, reasoning together, where we are communicating with one another based on these nation building concepts to where we carry it into practice these solutions to better our social status in all areas of people activity and with peoples in all walks of life with respect, right? Okay, for instance, food for thought. spiritual food for thought and food for thought dealing with civics and law, real law, and jurisprudence. Okay. Who declares a people indigenous? According to the convention concerning indigenous and tribal independent countries, Article 1, Section 2, summarizes that it is up to a people themselves to declare themselves indigenous. Article 39 of the same document states that the only way to declare a people non-indigenous would be if someone within the said nation of indigenous peoples nations prove that the indigenous nation is not indigenous and denounces the above convention. The draft of Declaration Article 8 also has been created by indigenous nations of the United Nations. The United Nations holds annual conferences called the Unworking Group for Indigenous Nations. These meetings are not closed to the public. It's held in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, how many of us know these particular kind of convention realities based on the issue dealing with our proper person status topics dealing with indigenous people's rights? This goes on to read: the independence for colonial countries and people. A declaration that has been adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations on December 14, 1968 states, number one, the subjection of people to alien subjugation, domination, and exploitation continues. A denial of subjection of people to alien subjugation, domination, and exploitation constitutes a denial of fundamental human rights. And that is what we have, fundamental human rights that are to be respected and protected, right? As contrary to the Charter of the United Nations, and is an independent and is an impediment of the promotion of the world peace and cooperation. Also, the draft of the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People states, acknowledging that the Charter of the United Nations, the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, affirm the fundamental importance of the right of self-determination, right, of all peoples, by virtue of which they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Now, the United Nubian Nation of Moors we have done just that. It's a lot that I'm still learning, right? And my studious studies, as far as me being studious, studying to show myself approved, right? To smooth the landscape of my knowledgeable mind with valid to the point where the knowledge that I am gaining from these indigenous studies is being applied in a way that makes what I'm doing, not saying, but doing, like the term, right? Like the term, like they say, faith without works is dead. So having faith and backing that faith up with deeds, that brings about a completion of the idea that you are interested in manifesting from the faith. So the actions and deeds, you know what I'm saying, from the faith complete that faith to the point where this become manifested in real time, where our rights as indigenous people has real world standing. The knowledge is here. All we have to do is study and carry it into practice and take all the necessary steps and declare the reality of who we are nationality wise, as opposed to the negative slave mentalities that's being projected from niggas who are actually insane, the insane nigger. See, knowledge is the key to come up out of the stupors and the foolish behavior that's causing people, you know what I'm saying, to perpetuate, like for instance, like when they say Black Lives Matter, there have been an outcry with people protesting about when that young brother mistakenly run the doorbell of a particular person in a community when he was like just trying to connect with his friends or what have you, and went to the wrong door, run the doorbell, and some sick white person, like older white person, who most likely was influenced by a racist, sick outlook on life, and shot the boy. And end up getting locked up for it, to where we just anticipate justice to be served for that young man, to where that white person get punished to the full extent of the law from that irresponsible, foolish judgment and decision that he had made. So justice is being served for that young man and his family. Now, on the contrary of that, without it being, okay, the white and black, right? Yeah, you have the black on black violence, but yet ain't nobody talking about Black Lives Matter then. So what is it about that twisted, crazy response to where when black on black crime take place, black lives outcries is not to be found. Now look at that. Sit back and just look at that. So, with that said, it's something about the term black that has no standing in law. There it is again, regarding our people being denationalized by certain European colonial forces who constitute a certain, what they call a Union State Society of European, basically insanity, where they created a certain system to where they use paperwork a certain way to get people entrapped in certain misnomers and terminologies where people be using, such as black people, where they have no standing at law, to where they consider people that put themselves in a civiliter mortuus state or civilly dead state, where they are civilly dead. So when we don't hear no outcry like black on black crime, like downtown here in Detroit, for the last month, I happened to witness. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, now, downtown Detroit in our city, where it is a lot of expensive construction going on down there, where it's looking beautiful, revitalized, looking real nice. You know, it is somewhere for our people to go and enjoy themselves. People of all different nationalities be down there, right? But yet it's our people that's down there doing the gun violence, the violence. It's nobody else, it's them doing it. So this black on black crime, where is the protest against that? See, it's something about that kind of social illiteracy that serve as evidence for why they say black has no standing at law. So our people have to get right and help set the record straight and change their mentality to become nationalized properly again through proclaiming our true nationality, which would enable us to have tendencies to have higher levels of respect for one another. Because after all, civilized people, right, have high levels of respect for one another. You know what I'm saying? So this goes on to read. Also, the draft of the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People states, acknowledging that the Charter of the United Nations, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, affirm the fundamental importance of the rights of self-determination of all peoples, by virtue of which they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. So how are we developing mentally? developing is very important. Developing our minds is very, very important. We got to get to like how the Chinese society, how the whole society go to school and educate themselves to the point where they use that education to benefit the society on a healthy level. We got to get into unifying our minds around psychological and educational development through our true spiritual sciences. Now, for instance, right, in the world, there was so much going on in addition with this fight that we got to proclaim our nationality and be in our proper person status as indigenous people of this land, right? Now, for instance, Article 3 of this document repeats this right. This right is also backed by Article 31, which also gives indigenous people their independent under autonomy or self-government. So as indigenous people, you have inalienable rights that a foreigner could not take away from us. But due to y'all not proclaiming y'all nationalities, y'all take y'all own rights away from yourselves. Y'all strip yourselves of power and don't even know it. You give power to yourselves by identifying with the right status of your real person that has standing in law and that's recognizable on an international level. Now, you have inalienable rights that a foreigner cannot take away, and in that no foreign government can impose their laws or practices on indigenous people without their consent or agreement. So y'all have to watch what y'all consent to. We have to watch what we consent to. Y'all have to watch what y'all agree to. We have to watch what we agree to, right? Now, currently the UN allows indigenous people to attend conferences as observers without being granted membership into the UN. Thus, most indigenous people, let me see, most indigenous people, right, elect to not get involved in the political structure of the United Nations. Indigenous people do not get involved in the political structure of the United Nations. Indigenous people must, however, declare their sovereignty for the United Nations to be recognized. So here it is. Our sovereignty comes with our nationality, and our nationality comes with our sovereignty, right? Now, question, what does indigenous peoples mean? The word indigenous people is an English term used by the United Nations. First, let's define what the word indigenous means according to the comprehensive etymological dictionary of the English language. On page 374, the word indigenous means native, coming from the Latin word indigena, also mean native from the root word indigene, right? According to the American Heritage Dictionary, the English word indigenous is an adjective meaning origination and growing of living in an area or environment. See, we are indigenous to this land here in America, North America, South America. And in addition to that, it's this book called The One World Tartarians, right? I have the book. I want to elaborate on some things regarding the contents of the reading material that's relevant for us to know about, because it is in harmony with this topic and food for thought regarding us being indigenous to this land. Okay, now coming from the Latin word indigena, meaning a native, both coming from the English root word gen, also gen meaning to give birth. I mean, yeah, to give birth, beget, with derivatives referring to aspects and results of procreation, and to familial and tribal groups, right? The English root word gene again comes from Latin word gene stem gen, meaning race, clan, or the Latin word genius, meaning procreative divinity, inborn tutelary spirit, inequality. The noun of the word indigenous is indigene, meaning a person is indigene or native, right? Born in a place. We was born here. We indigenous to this land, right? So an indigenous people would be native or indigenous to a specific land in a specific point in time at a specific place. Now, in this specific place that we have been born in here in America, Turtle Island, that was connected to Pangaea. Due to the continental drifts that have taken place, here in this area of the world, we have always been here. Our ancestors have been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So here it is contemporarily. This is our birthplace, making us indigenous, connected to the real tribes and clans that goes by indigenous sovereign names that we have to acquaint ourselves with, or we have standing at law. Now, for instance, with that said, still looking at all this craziness that's going on. Now we have a lot of organizations in place that is trying to appeal to the intelligence of us as a people to clean our thinking up and get our organization activities and cooperate with one another and unify with one another, pool our resources with one another, right? So we can get ahead as a people nation building level. Now, mind you, Noble Drew Ali came with a remedy. Elijah Muhammad came with a remedy. Marcus Garvey came with a remedy. John Henry Clark came with a remedy. Minister Louis Farrakhan, adding on with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, came with a remedy. Ivan Van Sertima came with a remedy. Bobby Hemmett came with a remedy. We have so many intelligent minded brothers that came to share open-minded information for us to magically get involved with certain spiritual phenomena that work hand in hand with our non-ether nature. Now, mind you, we have to have a strong mind. We have to be in agreement with the elements that is going to work in our behalf for us to tap into our full potential as a people, to where we take good care of each other. But due to the self-hatred, that is a major impediment into that grand idea of us working with each other. Now, for instance, the term trick knowledge. Here it is. You have people in the society, like that term when they say, or when the Bible said, you have people who claim that they are Jews, but they are not. But they are the synagogue of Satan. In addition to that, you have what's called black devils. In addition to that, you have people who are of a certain bloodline to where they do the works of the evil one. But yet, a lot of us who have separated ourselves from the unclean things of the world, who taken a stand against the negativity of the evildoers to bring healing to the planet through our spiritually advanced sound mind, to where we generate energies through our actions and deeds to take control of our higher selves, to where we producing good fruits. So the good fruit that I share with my viewers, listeners, and supporters, may it benefit you in a way where it appeal to your higher selves. We not concerned about the low vibrations. Here we raising our vibrations to the maximum because that's what we have time for now. To be the change that we want to see in the world through nine-mind mentalities. But yet, we have to be aware of the other realities that's going on in the planet in this fight regarding the battle in the sky. The battle to destroy y'all minds. But the Most High, you know what I'm saying, will not have us ignorant to where we are to have a built up mind, a well cultivated mind, a well developed mind, to where we take a stand as agreeable people that that is reliable, right? To protect this supreme wisdom and carry it into practice while we on this plane, this physical plane connected to the spirit world, right? Where it's all kind of realities going on as well. But yet, the nature of this transmission is to do justice for us all who is trying to tap into our potential, being 9 mind qualified beings, supreme beings, the Nagaru connected with the Najaru, the overseers and the watchers, right? In this war of straight good and evil. Now, for instance, who made our people so stupid? Right? Look at the stupidity of not only our people, but remember when I asked, matter of fact, the master teacher, right? The people's mind on this planet has been scrambled up like eggs. We have the answers, we have the remedies for people to get right. But people have to empty out of all the egotistical biasness within themselves, right? To catch the real truth. Remember when the master teacher was like, only fools duck when the truth is thrown at them, and that's what a lot of these mortals do. So what fools do these mortals be? Now, regarding the Tartarians that I was talking about, right? You know, there's arguments about good Moors and arguments about dirty Moors or Moriscos, or there is a such thing as good Moors who didn't sell their own people out, right? And as far as us being in our right minds, embracing our own true culture and our nationality, connected with our true national names and sovereign status, right? We still got to keep in check all these other topics of conversations and realities that we still have to talk about to promote, certain truth in the form of information that broaden our awareness to what's going on around us, right? Like, for instance, this particular food for thought. Now, regarding our minds, this page contains articles designed to fertilize the seeds of thought. Now, thought is symbolic as seeds and objects. In terms of thought waves, which are things, objects that can be sent somewhere. The elements of what thought is made up of, right, can create certain effects through knowing how to utilize our thought waves for the purpose of planting certain seeds that will grow in a positive way, for instance. Now, this page contains articles designed to fertilize the seeds of thought, right? The seeds of thought into the conscious deeds of life. Now, let's see. conscience, with sense, conscience, conscience, with common sense, with sense. So our conscience should be sensible, real sensible. Our mentality should be real sensible, not insane and idiotic, right? Our thoughts are our seeds, and likened to a seed planted in the ground. Once planted, it grows under the sun and the moon. Thus, plant your seeds or thoughts and allow them to grow properly where they will manifest a certain reality. Now, think about the condition of the black community. What reality have our thoughts manifested regarding nation building? Regarding nation building. Right? Now, for instance, right? For instance, these type of things are real and they going on. The history of the planet, right? For instance, right? This reading material right here dealing with rogue governments, right? Listen to the terminology. Listen to the terminology. This book could be entitled Serial Chainsaw Baby Killer and the Woman Who Loved Them. Listen to that. This book could be entitled Serial Chainsaw Baby Killers and the Woman Who Loved Them. Now think about the mentality of a lot of these women who like insanity out here and who rebel against cooperating with a well-poised minded type man, right? And support his ideas and cooperate him and be obedient to his lofty higher self ideas, because it's something deep down inside them to where they are impulsive from some kind of twisted good feelings that they get from their lower selves. In our race, it's like the black woman have a major mental problem with, to where, like the Insane Nigga book was talking about how the white man used the black woman against the black man. Why they do that? What kind of immature woman is that? Who don't take a stand and be side by side with her natural mate, but yet in a society that's constantly brainwashed from the influences of the idea of multiculturalism. Where is it at? All these races got a mind of their own, right? But they tend to not use their free will, where the women of all these other races tend to not use their free will and say, you know what, I want to get with me a black man. Hello? Whereas they doing that in large percentages, I do not see it. or the fairy tales of the ideas of the media. Don't get me wrong. True love is true love, right? By all means, whatever. If people really find love, by crossing racial lines and they really love each other, by all means, maintain that beautiful, loving relationship. But when it comes to the bigger picture of people who has been nearly totally mentally destroyed, to get themselves back together when it comes to being an organized body of people regarding nation building, there's a lot of work to do where interracial relationships is far from our mind. We got to clean our house up from the damages of being prisoners of war as a result of imperialism and colonialism. But in this process, right, like me finding love, I haven't found it yet, because this is a certain reality of America, to where ain't no love here. It's an illusion, but yet love is the highest form of positive energy. Who really care about me exhibiting the highest form of positive energy, right? And not attracted to it. That goes to show you it's a lot of insanity in America when it comes to the frequency of love. You know what I'm saying? But mind you, I'm not going to discontinue to embody that high frequency of love, which is the highest form of positive energy. That's what I represent through my true spiritual science, right knowledge here. And can't nobody take that away from me. Can't nobody get me to think different. That ain't what this sound doctrine is all about. Now, man, regarding the planet, when the master teacher was talking about Mission Earth and the extraterrestrial involvement scroll, right? Now, for instance, before I get there, I want to resume finishing this point. Now, the woman don't really believe that their beloved would do such a thing, right? Even if they're shown a severed limb or a headless torso, or if they believe it, they know down to their bone marrow that lover boy really had the best intentions, had the best of intentions. It must have been some kind of very unfortunate accident, a well-meaning blunder. In fact, even more likely, it was a humanitarian act. Now, these twisted women can be so blinded by the insanity of these killers, right? They think it's a humanitarian act. Like, for instance, the madness going on over there in Ukraine, where Russia forces cause it to be a war-torn country, right? But yet, what's really going on behind that war? Now here it is, we fighting a war over here, a spiritual war for our minds, to keep our sanity within the borders here of the United States of America, domestically. The country got issues. Families got issues. People trying to hold on to what they got. Dimensional shifts in the galaxies, the universe, the galaxies, the solar system. Shifts is taking place. Shifts is taking place in people's minds and in people's hearts and in people's consciousness. What is people being in tune with? Weather patterns, crazy weather patterns, economic crises, people holding on for dear life, people not trusting other people because of the craziness in the environment. You know what I'm saying? To the point where people stand to themselves, watching what's going on. Okay, let your next move be your best move. You know what I'm saying? People out here gambling, taking taking certain chances that can cause them to end up being their last chance to do anything. You know what I'm saying? People hustling bustle cities. This is an era of time where a lot is being exposed to the point where we really have to become stronger in our convictions into the divine scheme of things, because the Most High is the ultimate reality and the devil is a lie. Now, for instance, right, for 70 years the United States convinced much of the world that there was an international conspiracy out there, right? An international communist conspiracy seeking no less than control over the entire planet for purposes which had no socially redeeming values. And the world was made to believe that it somehow needed the United States to save it from communist darkness. Just buy our weapons and Washington let our military and our corporations roam freely across your land and give us veto power over whom your leaders will be, and we will protect you. We know that's how our system, our government work. Them the type of negotiating bargaining chips that they utilize to win certain people over when it comes to the politics of certain leadership land, right? Now, here in America, like when KRS-One made that classic, you were put here to protect us, but who protect us from you? You were put here to protect us, but who protect us from you? Who's protecting us? Who is protecting our interests? Who? Protect us from the abuses of the government? Who protect us? We protect ourselves. We have the right to self-defense. But in this light, though, you were put here to protect us, but who protect us from you? You know what I'm saying? So certain checks and balances has been put in place for certain lines not to be crossed, where certain boundaries are to be respected. Are they being respected? Now, we have to respect one another. for instance, we have knowledge of ourselves, right? The beautiful chant, of course. Hold on these particular questions and answers by the master teacher dealing with certain beings. Right? Okay. Now, for instance, the reality of certain people, right? Like the Illuminati, for instance. Now, you have certain beings of the greater light, and you have beings of the lesser light. Now, this Illuminati is beings of this lesser degree of a certain light of information. Well, I seen a certain perspective where they was talking about beings of the amber light, but not beings of the green light. Now, for instance, you have these particular perspectives of what's considered Moors being the real Illuminati, or the beings of the green light, the real illuminated beings, right? Now, we're keeping things in this proper perspective here. Now, where did Christianity get its teachings? Where did Islam get its teachings? It appears like it's a connection. It appears like it's a connection with Judaism dealing with the Kabbalah. Now, mind you, this particular passage reads, in essence, the Illuminati are merely the spearhead of the so-called Jews' plot to rule the world. Now, is that true or is it not true? Now, there is books that is in public circulation known as the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, the International Jew, and other books dealing with that particular topic, dealing with Jewish people. Now, us as Nubians and Nubians, indigenous people, what international relations do we have with certain government bodies or beings of higher civilizations, right, that know about the other government governmental systems of this planet to where we are to come out with great substance in the divine scheme of things to where we is free from the negative slave mentality. See, we have super brains. We have super intellectual computing capabilities that we have awakened to through our third eyes to channel higher mathematical computing capabilities. Now, for instance, right? Now, as far as they part to rule the world from the Kabbalah, they received the guidance of their father. Now, for instance, who is the father of these people? Are they is the father agreeable or disagreeable? Now, you be the judge. This regal material saying that the devil, by way of the prodigals, they have devised a plan, and through the organization itself, they have managed to work into every fiber of all societies, religions, and governments of the world. If you examine the American system, you will see for yourself that these beings have dominated the society ever since they migrated here from Europe. Now wait a minute. The Bible says righteousness build a nation up, and wickedness tears it down. Right? Where do y'all stand in the divine scheme of things? Are you a sellout? Or are you somebody who is not a sellout? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the Most High's divine plan for our lives. See, this goes on to read, you will see for yourself that, right, the so-called Jebusites have dominated this society ever since they migrated here from Europe. Can't you see that this very society is controlled by these beings? He controls the media, the monetary system, and the government. The three major television networks were founded by Jebusites. Hold on. Now we building. We building. What do we have, man? You know what I'm saying? What do we have, man? Do we have something? Or do we have nothing? Now here it is. We the richest people on the planet who've been tied to all kind of riches on the planet. And how did we end up going through all these struggles, man? Trying to get back to having what we naturally was blessed with as a royal, rich people who is the golden race of this planet, straight bloodline. Right? How can so much been stripped from us? Well, we literally been arguing with one another over crumbs. But yet these other people so established, they got it all. But how did they get what they got? That is considered to be ill-gotten gain. And yet here it is. Our people arguing and competing with with each other, hating on each other over crumbs. Discombobulated in their head through self-hatred and trick knowledge. Shame on all, man. It's so disgusting to look at, man. It's unbelievable how low our people have fallen. But we have to get back up, and we doing it. Yes, we are rising, but in light of us rising, other people, y'all quit hating on us, man. Trying to tap back into the beauty of our natures. We have to imagine y'all being in a condition that we coming up out of right now. Anyway, the Jebusites from the 12 tribes of Lebanon and Canaan, right? Now, for instance, the president of NBC, the president of CBS, the president of ABC, right? The Jebusites occupy the front desk positions while they control the television industry, right? They make up 59% of the executive positions and only 3% of the working force. In the motion picture industry, all picture companies were founded and controlled by the Jebusites, with the exception of the United Artists Industries. Right? Now, the number of Jebusite senators and congressmen, as well as lobby groups, have grown over the years, 4 years.